Well, welcome back from our summer hiatus for the Moose Jaw This Week. I'm Lyle Johnson, your host, and we're talking to somebody who's got a very important part of the Moose Jaw District sports area, and that's Mr. Larry Graham, president of the Moose Jaw District Sports Hall of Fame. Larry, I just need to say, what a wonderful outfit you have today to carry on a great tradition of rider support.
Well, thank you very much, Lyle. I'll give the viewers a little bit more of a shot. It's just getting ready for Labor Day, and thanks for having me back. It's nice.
Oh, and that's good. And of course, we have upcoming. Obviously, the Moose Jaw District Hall of Fame has made a recent announcement about the 2023 inductees. What we're going to see, we'll talk about them today and about the ceremony that's coming up, plus the press conference. And it's got pretty exciting times. We're coordinating with the Warriors to make it happen. So
it is. We are coordinating. The good folks at the Moose Jaw Event Center came to talk to us last night, and apparently the Warriors annual meeting is going on immediately following our press conference. So we adjusted our time a little bit to be kind of a good event center citizen. So it's nice. Lots of sports going on at the event center, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And of course, the Warriors recently are going to be starting up their training camp, and we'll see after a very successful last year where it's going to go. What the next step is going to be for that team. But let's talk about. Well, we can talk about some ex hockey players because a couple of the inductees this year are hockey players. You go ahead and tell me about famous Amos
Wilson. Well, Amos Wilson. Move my cheat sheets around here. He was born in Moose Jaw, and he played local minor hockey, and he was involved in the TV and Sports Center. So anybody that's my vintage age remembers the TV and Sports Center. We went there for equipment, and for me personally, I took my kids' skates there all the time to be sharpened and bought equipment there from Amos and Pete Simonek. Amos played with the Juvenile Monarchs in 1944-45, so that was kind of his vintage. He moved up to play with the Junior Canucks the next two seasons, and that team won the Abbott Cup that was the precursor, I think, to the Western Canada Junior title. And they won that in 46-47 and qualified for the Memorial Cup. They played the best of seven series in Western Canada and finished second to the Toronto St. Michael's Majors. And that was the most successful finish of any Moose Jaw team at that time. Amos also went on to be signed by the Chicago Blackhawks in 1946 and played professionally for Kansas City, Vancouver, and Tacoma Rockets. His hockey journey also took him to the Kamloops Elks, the Moose Jaw Millers in 52-54, and the Playmores here in Moose Jaw, of course, in 1958-61, and he served as the team captain there. Millers won the Saskatchewan Senior Hockey title in 53-54, and the Playmores captured the Henderson Trophy in 58-59. And our last line in the wall citation for Amos also says he was an honorary, or he was not honorary, he was a member of the Grumpy Old Men, a coffee group that used to meet and walk and have talkie and have some fun, tell some stories. So those people of my vintage also will know some of those grumpy old men. Yeah.
And the Grumpy Old Men were quite an interesting group of people and quite an eclectic group. And it was certainly worthwhile to sit down and talk to them about what to do. Well, another one is Gary Ross, because he's got hockey and baseball in his.
Gary Ross, yeah. I'm just going to flip my cheat sheets here. Gary Ross, longtime fixture in sports in Moose Jaw. Gary played hockey and played fastball. Big pitcher at Memorial Field. He started with the Playmores when he was only 17 in 1961-62. Joined the Junior Canucks for 63-64, and he had 41 points in only 48 games. So a pretty prolific scorer Gary was in that league. He was drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks and played 5 games for the St. Louis Braves before being sent to the Port Huron Flags. He returned home to play for the Playmores in 1967 to 74, and then the Regina Caps, and we won't hold that against him in 75, 76. He also was a member of the Moose Jaw Old Timers and won the Pacific Cup in 73, 74, and he still continued to play hockey locally until 2011, which I think Gary retired from hockey and we retired the old Civic Center, both at the same time. So kind of a fitting thing. And for those folks out there that didn't get to see the old Civic Center, it was a sight to behold. And luckily, you can see a picture of it on the Hall of Fame wall down at the Moose Jaw Event Center. Gary's other love was fastball.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he started playing for the Johnstone Dairy Juniors in 1959. He spent 2 seasons in the Western Canadian Major Fastball League with the Regina Carlings. He played for the Moose Jaw Packers that won the Canada Packers that won the Provincial B title in 71. And he continued to pitch locally for Memorial Field until the retirement at the age of 63. So he pitched and played for a long time. He was multi-winner of the Most Valuable Player 7 times, an All-Star 14 times, and top pitcher 12 times. And Gary pitched a lot of no-hitters in his career. And he gave back gave back to the league and to Moose Jaw, put on fastball clinics for a long time here in the city. So a real contributor to the sports in Moose Jaw.
Well, yeah, and of course we've got some connections with wrestling and bodybuilding, weightlifting. A couple of guys there that are pretty significant recipients this year, and they're all going to be at the. They're going to be announced at the press conference, and some of them will be in attendance, which is going to be on September the 2nd, I think.
September 7th, actually.
7th, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
September 7th at the new time of 10 o'clock in front of the Hall of Fame wall. Yeah. And if you like, I can just go through our other inductees.
Yeah.
Try and do it very quickly, if you like. Well, we do have another person with a connection to hockey. Jim Little, as an athlete and builder, is being inducted.
Yeah.
I should say that Gary Ross was. I forgot to say he was being inducted as an athlete for hockey and fastball, and Amos Wilson, of course, is being inducted as an athlete for hockey. But Jim is being inducted as a athlete and a builder for hockey. Jim also played defense for the Playmores in 60 to 65. He signed with the New York Rangers in 65 and moved to the Saskatoon Quakers, and was picked up for the Western League by the Calgary Spurs for that year. He joined the Playmores for the next 2 seasons, and in 69-70 he won the Allen Cup with the Spokane Jets. Played again for the Playmores in 71 to 74, won a Western Canada League first All-Star defenseman. He continued for several years until his retirement from hockey in the early 1980s. As a builder, Jim coached hockey at all levels, ranging from King George Elementary to the Moose Jaw General Senior and Western Canada Championships in 85-86. He was a member of the organizing group to bring the Warriors that we just talked about into the city of Moose Jaw. Jim was also a teacher with the Board of Education in Moose Jaw, and a longtime fixture of sports in Moose Jaw. So that's Jim Little. Moving on, another long-term fixture in sports in Moose Jaw, Mr. Brad Hennefit. Henny, as some people call him, was a coach for a number of years. He was a really good high school athlete in volleyball, basketball, and track. He played a couple different sports at STI, which some people know as, I think, Sask Polytechnic here in Moose Jaw now. But it was STI for those of us of a certain age. Coaching came naturally to Henny. He coached volleyball in Moose Jaw, won several provincial high school titles at Central Collegiate and in Swift Current and Vanier Collegiate in his over 30 years of coaching in the high school systems. And he was never one to sit and not improve his coaching. He improved his coaching talents to level 3 volleyball coaching standard, and led to an opportunity for him to be an assistant coach and trainer with the U of R women's volleyball team in 2014-16. And they won the under-21 Western Canadian Championship that year. He was also coached the Astros baseball team, the STI men's and women's badminton team to nationals, local ladies fastball team to nationals, and coached at the Canada Games in London and in Regina. And he's also, for many years, one of the original organizers of the Dan Andry Classic Volleyball Tournament. Dan Andry was another good friend of Brad's in high school, friend of his that passed away way too early, and they held the tournament in Dan's honor. So very nice thing there. Brad's been involved in many sports in Moose Jaw over the years. I know you mentioned wrestling, Lyle.
Yeah.
We've had a great opportunity from the wrestling community to have people nominated. This year is no exception. We've got another Dave Pyle disciple, which all these guys seem to be. Dave Pyle's another one of our inductees, but this particular fellow, John Bozak, we're inducting him as an athlete for wrestling. He started his wrestling career in 1954 with the Moose Jaw Wrestling and Barbell Club under also Moose Jaw Sports Hall of Fame inductee Dave Pyle. John dominated his weight class, winning 6 championships. He also participated in the Canadian Championship, winning bronze in 59, 60, and 61. He was voted the most outstanding wrestler at nationals in 1965, and he won the middleweight title and was named to the Canadian national wrestling team. He competed at the World Championships in Manchester, England, and he was part of a 7-man Can-Am squad that took on the Japanese national team at Expo 67 in Montreal. Holy smokes, that's incredible. John was also a member of joined the Moose Jaw Police Service in 1959 and served the community as a Little League coach and continued to coach once he retired and moved to BC. So that's John Bozak, another wrestling disciple out of Dave Pyle's gym. Now, some of you may remember if you were at our induction ceremony in 2019, we inducted Wayne there, but we inducted him as a builder in 2019. This year, we're inducting Wayne as an athlete. We had to wait for him to retire from the sport of powerlifting to induct him. As I said, Wayne moved to Moose Jaw in 1981, where he met Dave Pyle and was mentored and coached by Dave at Pyle's gym. And continuing that tradition, he was also coached by Dave's son, Bill, at the gym in Moose Jaw. In 85, Wayne set a junior lift record that was retired in 2010, never having been broken. He also set 3 other unbroken records. So just a very prolific power lifter. He was a 2-time recipient of the Saskatchewan Powerlifter of the Year Award in 1997 and 1998. He competed in 3 national powerlifting organizations, 13 SAS titles, 1 Manitoba title, 3 Western Canadian titles. We could go on and on and on with Wayne. In 1999, he also helped Moose Jaw host the Canadian Championships that he also organized. And at the age of 37, he captured the Champion of Champions Cup as the #1 lifter overall in Canada. A 2-time inductee into the Moose Jaw District Sports Hall of Fame. That would be Mr. Wayne Cormier. One other fellow that folks would know from Moose Jaw being around town is Dave Jukes. And this is our first induction. We have a new sport this year. Dave Jukes we're inducting as an athlete builder in rugby. So that's a new sport to the Moose Jaw District Hall of Fame, which we're always happy about. For folks' information, we've got, at the end of this year, we'll have 50 inductees and across 20 different sports and a variety of age groups. Dave is being inducted as an athlete builder for rugby. He attended the University of Saskatchewan, where he played football in the 70s, 71, and 73. Then in the early 70s, he continued through the 2010s, so that if you're doing the math, that's 40 years. Dave established himself as a premier rugby player, coach, and administrator. He participated at all levels, from local teams to international matches. He was a member of the 1976 provincial team that hosted the famous touring team, the Barbarians, the English touring team at the Barbarians at Taylor Field of Regina. So, boy, if we could only get some film of that, I bet you that'd be fun. Administratively, Dave spent countless hours supporting the community rugby program of the facilities at Barry McDonald Field, rugby field here in Moose Jaw. Barry was a long-term member of the Moose Jaw Rugby Club that another person passed away way too early, and the rugby club honored him by naming the field after him here in Moose Jaw. Dave's been an executive member of the Moose Jaw and Saskatchewan Rugby Board for many years. In fact, the provincial executive established a number of annual awards for deserving rugby performers, including the Dave Jukes Award for Most Outstanding Junior Forward. And at the inaugural Saskatchewan Rugby Union Awards ceremony in 1996, Dave was inducted into the Hall of Fame as both a player and coach. So Dave's no stranger to Hall of Fame induction. So we're glad to see Dave and a new sport of rugby come into the Hall of Fame. And the last inductee I'll talk about is if you're driving around town, you've probably seen his name, heard his name, Stan Montgomery. Is being inducted as a builder in both baseball and curling. He himself was an accomplished baseball player in Moose Jaw with the Regals and Mallards from 55 to 60, coached local fastball teams. Stan also worked for the police department here in Moose Jaw from 1954 to 1988. And when he was superintendent of the police force, he established a police athletic fund for underprivileged children, which continues today. And he also served our city as mayor from 1988 to 91. So super involved in the community in a number of different ways, Stan was. He's a lifetime of coaching, both baseball and curling. Coached Little League championship teams in 60, 65, 68, 70, and 71. And in 61, he managed a local all-star team that went to the Canadian National Championships and the Worlds in Rockford, Illinois. So we've just seen in the news the Regina Little League team go to the Worlds, where this is quite a few years ago, 61, where Stan took a team there as well. He was also an accomplished curling competitor, coached and skipped the Moose Jaw team. And his most exciting win was the National Schoolboy Championships in 1971 that two of his kids played on. He also coached another one of his boys, Rob Montgomery Rink, at the Men's Briar in Kamloops and in Winnipeg. And the city of Moose Jaw honored Stan by naming a field in his honor. So, and he was also inducted in the Saskatchewan Curling Hall of Fame and the Saskatchewan Baseball Hall of Fame. So another multi-Hall of Fame inductee in Stan Montgomery. So it's a super class this year.
So, Larry, what a good description. All these people deserve recognition, and they deserve to be recognized in our community. And so the event itself is going to take place in late September, I believe.
Actually, the event itself, our induction ceremony, it'll be our
changed. Yeah.
It'll be our 9th one. It is going to be Friday, October 27th at the Moose Jaw Event Center.
That's right.
Little bit later this year because the Moose Jaw Event Center was booked up, which is a really good thing for our city. So we're happy that they're treating us so well. So Friday, October 27th. And I'm happy to announce that we're in our formal press conference where we announce the inductees next week, Thursday, September 7th at the Moose Jaw Event Center in front of the hall. There'll be our local media will be there. Some of the inductees will be there. Hopefully, some friends and family. It's a really cool time. We put their wall citations up on the wall, and it's just nice. It's their first opportunity to kind of be recognized in public. But the other big thing that happens next week after the press conference is that tickets go on sale for the induction ceremony. So tickets are $60 each plus some fees if you buy them online, and you can get them at the Moose Jaw Events box office or online at sasktix.ca. That's SASKTIX.ca. And again, they're going on sale as of next Thursday, September 7th at noon. And get them fast because we're hoping it's a sellout.
Yeah, and of course, there's another thing that we want to. This is a teaser, but we're going to be announcing a major sponsor addition to the Moose Jaw District Sports Hall of Fame naming rights. So we won't say anything until that happens, but it's going to be a nice investment in our community by one of our local businesses.
We are. We'll also be announcing that at the press conference next week, and we're extremely happy to bring on this business as our new title sponsor. They're a name people will immediately recognize that has been involved in the community for years and years, and it's exciting for us.
Yeah, Well, Larry, thanks for taking some time out of your bicycle training. Well, I guess, although that didn't really happen today like it was supposed to.
Well, when you're training,
But,
when you're retired training, you don't have to go out when it's a windy day. Wow. So
No, or the sun's too hot, or
yeah,
There might
or
be,
you're
yeah.
just not motivated that day.
no, yeah, yeah, for sure. So thank you and congratulations to those nominees. They're done, and so looking forward to seeing a lot of people come out, pick up your tickets, and enjoy yourselves in October.
I hope so. I hope so. It's always a good time. You'll see someone you know, guaranteed.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Lau.
Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll see you, audience, again soon on Moose Show this week.